why people are drinking less during lockdown. Now, at first blush, you might be thinking, that's not true. Everyone I know is drinking more. There's been reports in the paper about there being like a run on the offer license during this period. And do you know what? There's some truth in that. Early on, the stats played that out. Even within the One Beer community that we run, we noticed a slight decline in sign-ups around the early stages of lockdown. I think it was like kids in the candy shop. It was like removal of the stresses and the strains of the commute, of jumping in the car every day. There was that like sort of freedom and more time that seemed to spark this booze fest. There was the extra stress that was hanging around of homeschooling and trying to work from home, and all those routines suddenly flew out the window. And it was like, party on, right? And there was that move towards drinking more. I'll totally own that, I'll accept that. But then something strange has happened, something wonderful has happened during that period. People have started to work out in their masses that actually the drinking in the week or over the weekend is actually having a massive negative impact on their performance. They're starting to make that direct link that wasn't there before because it was too busy, it was too dressed up in the stresses and the strains of work. Maybe that tiredness that was hanging around was to do with the early morning commutes or the stress at work. Maybe that sort of grumpiness and that couldn't be botheredness and that lack of motivation was just down to life. Commuting, the stress of commuting, the job itself, the entertaining clients. All of a sudden that was removed. It was like this petri dish of almost this real clinical situation where it was glaringly obvious to people what was happening the morning after the night before. Those couple of drinks even were clearly affecting people's sleep. They could see it in their data, in their watches, telling them they got a really poor night's sleep. They'd never noticed it before because it was all dressed up in the general stresses and strains of going to work and coming back from work and all of those type of things. But now we've got this clarity. It was really obvious. It is really obvious for people to see the difference between those couple of drinks and not having those couple of drinks, the difference in performance, the difference in their energy levels, the difference in their temperament, the difference in their motivation, their productivity, the difference in their sleep. It's in the data, the difference in their heart rate, which is elevated the day after, the night before. Couple of drinks. And I'm not talking about excessive drinking, I'm talking about even minimal drinking. 1 or 2 drinks, the odd glass of vino calapso to celebrate a long working day has a massive negative impact on your performance. And people are working this out. You know, I've been banging this drum for the last 10 years and it's great to see people experiencing it for themselves because of the lockdown situation. So rather than this continued, like elevated drinking consumption, it's gone the other way. And we're seeing sign-ups to One Beer, for example, go through the roof. People are starting to come to that realization. They're having that experience firsthand, visceral connection with the fact that actually, oh, when I do have a couple of drinks, I struggle a bit the next day. When I don't, I feel much better. Hold on a minute. If I chain enough of those days of not drinking together, I get this real momentum back in my life. I've got my mojo back, my time back, productivity's higher, I'm making more phone calls, I'm more energized, my temperament is better, my tempers are less frayed, my relationships are better, my eyes are brighter. Oh, maybe I'll do that for a bit longer. Maybe that drinking every night thing or that 1 or 2 drinks after work is not all it's cracked up to be. Yeah, it felt like fun at first, but actually what I've discovered now, I'm having way more fun. Because now the mornings are back on the cards. I've got energy to study, to learn before the world's awake. The weekends are back on the cards, right? Saturday mornings are the new Friday nights. I've said this for years. The worst trade in the history of trades is trading a Friday night's drinking for your whole weekend. Don't do that. That is the worst trade in the history of trade. People are starting to discover this in their masses, right? By not drinking on a Friday, their eyes are bright on a Saturday, they've got their momentum, they've got that energy, they've got that vitality. They want to go out and do stuff and enjoy the world and smile and have fun. And all of these wonderful things build momentum. Because then by the time Monday comes around and the working week is back on, you're on it because you've recovered properly over the weekend. A lot of the work I do now within the Office Athlete program that I've created is educating people about recovery, like athletes. We are office athletes, right? We work 10 hours a day. That's like doing an ultra marathon every day. We need to recover properly. We need to nourish our body properly. We need to drink, eat, think in the right way, like an office athlete. It's all intertwined because your goals are no different to an office athlete, to an athlete. An athlete dreams of winning gold. Why? Because they want to be fulfilled and happy. The office athlete dreams of career progression, or being the best that they can be within their field. Why? To be fulfilled and happy. It's the same thing. So this is why I'm on this mission, to try and get people into this mindset of treating their life, their career, like an office athlete, thinking differently about all the things they can do to optimize their performance, such as optimize sleep, optimize their relationship with alcohol, build in dedicated recovery time, find that quiet time. Right, eat at the right time and the right foods, train, exercise, move their body in the right way that complements what it is they do for their working day, so that you're strong in body, strong in mind, confident in body, confident in mind. This is where the office athlete approach to life comes from, and very often the spark, the genesis, the kickstarter to all of that is a break from alcohol, because it builds in this consistency. And that's what people are consistently finding through this lockdown period, that when they get that consistency back, they can build that momentum up in their life, which is changing the game across the board. And when they're in that place, there's time that never existed before. There's time before the world's awake, because their sleep is optimized, that they can get up a bit earlier and train and prepare for the day and organize themselves and be in that office athlete type of mindset. And that consistency shows up the next day and the following day, and then the weekend comes and there's more time to have fun, and then Monday comes and you are on it. That is changing the game in terms of the office athlete approach to life. And very often, not always, but very often that comes from taking a break from alcohol. Now, I know I'm biased, completely biased, because I love that area, the alcohol-free area. It's part of my background, it's part of my story, and our organisation, One You Know Beer, has reached over 1 million people now. We have 100,000 active members, right, of people on this journey, trying to be a little bit better, trying to optimise their life, and using that leverage, using that space, using that foundation to push on in their careers and their relationships, because it gives them that consistency back. So rather than this lockdown, the knee-jerk assumption is that everyone's drinking more, I think you'll find, and the stats are playing this out, people are starting to drink less because they've figured it out. One of the best ways to optimize their performance in life and business is to take a break from the booze. So if you're into that type of thing, just drop me a message on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, Andy Ramage Official on Instagram and Facebook. LinkedIn, just Andy Ramage. Our organisation called One You Know Beer. You can go and do a challenge there, or you can go to www.andyramage.com, sign up for the newsletter. This is part of that newsletter process, so that you can stay in tune with all the latest and greatest ideas, courses, concepts around this office athlete approach to life that's going to optimize your performance in business and in life. Enjoy.